Alrighty. Game 1 will be played on US West. Ping advantage for our men. Let's go. Lobby is up. Big series, guys. Quarterfinals. If anybody just has the stream casually open and is not exactly sure what we are doing, !B or bracket links to the tournament page. It's a $21,000 tournament. We are in the quarterfinals. We already have Hero and Solar in the semis. If a Terran makes it through today, David Kim has done it again. Even without Reynor and Serral, he has done it again. We'll have all 3 races represented. That's obviously what we hope for. Clem's ready. Trigger is ready. Good luck and fun. Let's do it. Big series for Trigger. A very, very big moment. I hope that he can just play his best. He's obviously an underdog here, but I hope he plays his best. Yesterday we saw a couple of legendary TVPs. Let's hope today is just as good. Or half as good. I don't know. 2 best of 5s. Creator versus Maru next. But first, full focus on this one. The man from Basilisk versus his good friend. These 2 guys are really close. They always hang out with each other. They always play games with each other. They practice with each other. Because of all the practice games that we obviously never get to see, there might be some mind games that we cannot possibly be aware of. But we're just going to lean back, enjoy the ride, and hope it's a good series. As we get closer and closer to the Rongyi Cup, and both of them will be there.
Let's get it on. Round 1, fight.
In the top right side, the man who won a WARDI TV weekly, who won a Monday night weekly. He's been on a bit of a roll. He's clearly in the best shape that he's ever been in. Let's see if we can capitalize on that. Representing Basilisk, a Canadian player playing from Korea, because that's where he's living. It's Trigger. And in the bottom left side, the man who just went to Hangzhou, lost to Reynor in the semi-finals in an awfully close series. Was obviously a little bit bummed out about that one, but he still had a great trip, and he's a great kid. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem. Trigger going for the hero approach of grabbing one of his first 12. Whoa, what? Okay. Okay. So we grab one of our first 12 probes. We immediately send it to the other side of the map. We're going to try to be annoying, and we grab another probe to potentially build a gateway out on the map. Very aggressive start here by Trigger. I don't know if he has fully moved. Like, he's been there for, I want to say, a year at this point in Korea. And I think he's very happy over in Korea. I don't think he has any plans of moving back anytime soon. But you obviously never know how things go. You never know how things go with gaming. You never know how things go with esports. Wow, we're just tree-gating, by the way. There's obviously a chance that if all of it goes badly up one day, Lord knows the apocalypse, that he goes back to Canada. But I think as long as he's gaming, as long as he's having fun, he's probably staying in Korea. Quarterfinals are online, semi-finals are online. The grand finals is offline in Shanghai on the 7th of February. Clem has no idea yet about the spicy, crazy start that Trigger is going for, a tree gate. I feel like the last time we saw this build being quite popular was the IEM Katowice online era, where Parting was still one of the best pros players in the world, and he did this quite often. I remember a couple of Parting innovation games that went down this route. Clem is going low ground CC. That is great news for Trigger, and Clem has not scouted it yet. Clem has still not scouted it. Let's go ahead and follow Clem's point of view for a little bit. Yeah, but the nice thing about that last Samurai is that, okay, Clem sees the Stalker, but it's still going to be hard. I think the bunker is never going to finish up, no? Trigger immediately is going to YOLO on the first Marine, now shoots at the Reaper, needs to go for these SCVs. We're going to get a cancel on the bunker, we're going to get a cancel on the command center. This is a spicy start. And the reactor, this looks really good for our man. This looks very, very, very good for Trigger. I think Clem is going to have to make the incredibly difficult call that is canceling this CC. I feel like we should go for a high ground. He's gonna... I don't think you can save this, Clem. I think Clem is dead if he tries to get the command center online. Loses another Marine. It was a little bit late pulling it back. He might lose the Reaper here too. Even when he gets the Marauder out, I think he's in so much trouble. I know that Big Gabriel keeps on telling us that SCVs beat Stalkers, but this is a lot of Stalkers. It's Adepts in the mix. Hellion comes out and it's dead. Marauder comes out and should die 1 for 1. Not even 1 for 1. I mean, this game is mega over. It's 1 for Trigger. It's a 0 for Clem. It is no wall off. What a start. What a start. A flawless game. The man beat Clem without losing a unit. Are you kidding me? Trigger just beat Clem without losing a single unit. Oh, that is a spicy start to our day. Holy smokes. 0 units lost. Wow. I mean, Trigger is, honestly, and this is not exaggerated, the man is one of the best pros players on the planet right now. That's just the way it is. He may not be hero yet, he may not be classic yet, but he's obviously getting awfully close to that. You don't win a WADI TV weekly, you don't win a Monday Night weekly without being one of the very best pros players on the planet. On top of that, he also made it to the Esports World Cup in 2025, which I think cements you as one of the top players on the planet. No, nobody said anything about lag. The players didn't say anything. There was no lag screen. So we're good. We're in the lobby of game 2. Now I'm going to temper my excitement a tiny bit, because I'm afraid that this day might turn into a disappointment, but let's hope that's not the case.
Round 2, fight!
What a start! I have to dig very, very deep to think back over anybody on this planet that has ever defeated Clem without losing a single unit. I'm sure it has happened with a proxy reaper or whatever, but it is very, very rare, especially in PvT. Taking the 1-0 lead, 2 maps away from making it to the semi-finals. It's BASILISK, Trigger. Top left side, we are looking at the main base of the Frenchman. I don't think he is too bothered by a game like that. He will just probably put it down to a build or the loss. Went for the Reaper into Marine, low ground CC, late bunker. I think the best thing he could have done, guys, is snap cancel bunker, snap cancel CC, build bunker on the high ground. That is the best thing he could have done. And then you're going to play from an awkward spot, but you play against the Protoss with 3 gateways, no expand, no twilight. Like, it's bad, but it's not the end of the world. It's just bad. He's going to have to shake it off and see if we can bounce back. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem. Another relatively early scout, as this scout was before the gate, but it's obviously not as quick as the previous game. Last game we went for a 12 worker start scout. Cybercore before Nexus. Clem is checking. It is one hell of a way to set the tone, by the way, and especially I was alluding to those mind games and how well these guys know each other. It is obviously a good opponent, a good way to put your opponent on edge. Do you have a business email? Most certainly. And RotterdaM at basilisk.gg. Clem scouting a little bit with his Marine reactor. 3 gate of 1 base, Allison. 3 gate of 1 base, like 1 gate at home, 2 gateways out on the map. Trigger 1 without losing a unit. Double Stalker with a double Adept follow-up. The man killed 15 units, lost 0. Can always give it a shot, mate. Can always send an email. In Dutch we say, niet geschoten is altijd mis. Which kind of translates to, you miss every shot you don't take, but it's obviously not quite a sport reference. But we can go with the Wayne Gretzky one. Doesn't hurt to try. Clem already has 5 Marines out. We don't have a bunker yet, so this is going to be a tiny bit annoying, but obviously with the Cyclone that's more than halfway done, I don't expect Clem to be in too much trouble here. Clem just needs to buy a little bit of time. Trigger needs to be careful. You really don't want to see the lock-on happen on the Stalker. Clem was clearly trying to get that lock-on. And Clem is going to get the lock-on, but Clem actually moved commanding his Cyclone a little bit too deep, but obviously we're going to trust Clem's micro here that he will not mess up. He's going to get an easy kill on the Adept. And already did quite a bit of damage to one of the Stalkers. 11 Marines, 1 medevac, and 1 Cyclone, as we have a tank follow-up as well. There's a 1-1-1 opening with a relatively quick second Rex. Trigger has, I think, a pretty good idea of what we're up against. Need to be so cautious that we don't bleed out too many Stalkers before we have Blink. He's going to try to take advantage of the side blocker. I don't like it because there is the pickup potential with the medevac as well. So even if you get a potential second volley off on the Cyclone, Clem is going to save it. You just know he's going to save it. That's a lot of Rex. I mean, it's just 3. But it's still not. 7 worker lead on the side of our Canadian Protoss, who is going to build an Immortal. We were talking about Christiana before. Christiana and Creator are 2 Protoss players that like to get a bunch of Immortals out early before they go into Colossus. So they'll play Blink, a Zealot Charge, and a bunch of Immortals, obviously with a Guardian Shield at all cost. Maybe Trigger thought that Clem was going to rally everything to the other side of the map. I mean, 3 this early is worth mentioning. But it's obviously nothing we haven't seen before. It's more than a couple. We went from a single to a couple of Rex into a lot of Rex. A lot being 3 in this case. I feel kind of tense watching this series because obviously it's a big one. The winner of this series guarantees themselves a $600 pay jump. To put it in perspective, that's more than the entire tournament we casted yesterday night. And obviously is still in the running to potentially win the 5k that's up for first. It's a single Immortal and then we have added the Robo Bay. Trigger needs to be careful as we almost end up losing a Stalker, but we don't quite end up losing it. I would like a backup pylon here, by the way, especially against a man like Clem, who is always able to find openings and will capitalize on every single tiny moment where you're out of position. Having a single pylon powering 2 gates and a Robo is playing with fire. For now we're gonna be okay. But later on you really want to make sure that you have more than a single pylon here. Clem is going to play this one very passively. Obviously down 0-1 knows there is not too much room anymore for error. Clem has a lot of respect for Trigger, knowing that these two have played a gazillion custom games with one another, knowing that Trigger does quite okay in some of them. And obviously recently beating him in the finals of the WADTV Weekly. Once we're down 0-1, Clem will always trust his ability to play late game TVP. Poor Dave. As in Dave Testa or as in Statfest? Why? Why poor Dave, mate? I know Statfest was feeling a little bit under the weather yesterday. That's why he left the weekly early, because he wasn't quite feeling it. But he seemed okay. He was talking in the chat for a bit. He was watching the game piece. We got a lot of Zealots storming into the third base of Clem. Clem did leave double Widowmine behind. One Widowmine fires at a single Zealot. The other one does some splash damage. I want to say this is a risky moment to morph it, as these two armies are getting dangerously close to each other. The Zealots are still going ham. Clem might have to abort this, or we have to repair it. Clem decides to repair it. Wants to continue apply pressure towards this a fourth base. We are 5 seconds away from extended thermal lens. This fight would have gone so much better for Trigger, but the Immortal is wailing away at the tank. That is a big shot. The Immortal will fall, but not before it took out the tank. It took out a couple of the Marauders. 9 SCVs have gone down. I mean, the Marauders won't take a losses. They'll get 1. And then Clem is forced to pick all of these units up. Honestly, pretty goated hold by Trigger, especially knowing that we got 9 SCVs and 2 Widowmines on the other side of the map in the making of this hold. 29 Zealots already going down, but it was quite good by Trigger. Especially since that was the push with the tank, with the Raven, and other turrets going down. And we were forced to take that fight right before extended thermal lens. I honestly think Trigger did quite good. He's enjoying a 9 worker lead, and he's still a 4 base Protoss. We're going to have a double Widowmine drop in the natural. Let's see if the Canadian Protoss is sharp. The answer to that question is yes. There's a good chance we lose. Oh no! Liquid Clam.
Liquid Clam. Liquid Clam.
I love it. I love the kid. He's too good. A Widowmine drop that looked like it was not going to do a whole lot now prevented this base from running for almost 30 seconds. And in typical Clem fashion, we did not skip a beat at home. We are building SCVs, our upgrades are finishing up, we are adding in a Ghost Academy, we took some gases. How's the Viking count? The Viking count is 4 though, like one little mistake with the Vikings here, guys, and we are actually in serious trouble. 4 Vikings against 3 Colossus is not the number that Clem is normally looking for. Trigger's doing a good job here with hold position, forcing these Widowmines to fire at one zealot at a time. Viking positioning is good. The first volley on the side of Clem is good. The blink, unfortunately, does not quite work out. Trigger did get 1 Viking there. That's pretty big. That is honestly pretty big. Warp Prism in the mix as well. This is going to be difficult for Clem, guys. It'd be silly to count Clem out because we know better than that. But Clem is down in army supply. Clem is down in workers. Clem is losing a gas. And there are a bunch of Colossus knocking at his front door. Clem does get another full volley off of the Vikings. That is obviously big, and he's just trying to buy some time. The Viking positioning is key. Zealot storming on top of the SCVs. That is a lot of SCVs falling. The Stalkers are trying to keep these Vikings at bay. 1 Colossus is low in HP, but not a single Colossus has gone done yet. Trigger has killed 21 SCVs without losing a Colossi. This is massive, man. Trigger is playing so incredibly good. He's just not getting carried away. He's not making any mistakes. He's not giving Clem an opportunity to pounce on his army. Clem might feel that this is the moment to go for it. Clem needs a big victory. Gets the Warp Prism. If we get the Warp Prism, we should be able to get a couple of these Colossi as well. The first one goes down. The second one will fall. And if the second one falls, the third one is guaranteed to go down too. Number 4 gets rallied in all by itself. Trigger is going to hit us with the Snap Recall. Lost most of his army, but dealt pretty good economic damage. But in the end, this was an insanely solid and great defense by Clem. It looked very difficult. It really did look like Clem was in trouble. But because he kept on building SCVs, even losing the 21 SCVs is not the end of the world. Does not cripple him. Clem did a great job in waiting very, very patiently for his moment to strike. Yeah, but it was almost on purpose, because sometimes you want to keep the Colossus away from the Vikings, because he was just trying to keep the Colossus alive for as long as possible. Because the moment that the Viking count is low, Clem cannot really jump on the remaining bits of the army. But Clem obviously did a good job in not giving Trigger the trade that he was looking for. As Trigger was looking to trade out a couple of Stalkers for the Vikings, letting the Zealots do their thing. We kill a bunch of SCVs. We have the Warp Prism there, we warp in more Stalkers, and we are cooking. But Clem just did not make a single mistake when it came down to the Viking positioning. Trigger, his 5th base, now potentially in a bit of trouble, but he has rebuilt a pretty serious Protoss army. Colossus count is 2 against 9 Vikings. But we do have a Warp Prism. We can obviously dodge a couple of the shots. Adding in a Disruptor now. 10 gateways, single robo is the setup of Trigger. I mean, Clem having +2 attack against the Protoss without any armor upgrades, without any shield upgrades. Normally that's not a bad moment to poke. And I can guarantee you that if the score is 0-0 in a minor online cup, Clem is sticking around there, and Clem is willing to just take that fight and capitalize on his upgrade advantage. But it's a big series, there's a lot of money to play for. There is obviously a trip to China on the line if we make it past the semifinals as well. And Clem is going to play it safe. Now he needs to save his planetary. We are going to repair it immediately. The army is here. Trigger needs to be 100% certain that this is the play. He gets the planetary, but the Viking count is really high. Now I'm afraid that we get the PF, but we may lose all of our tech units once more. If we can at least save a lot of the Stalkers, the Immortal, and the Disruptor, it's something we can justify. As a lot of Zealots are coming in from behind. The Vikings are landing. Trigger is going to try to trade out all of his units now for at least the expensive Vikings. Again, 17 SCVs go down. Trigger gets a Planetary Fortress snipe in a phase in the game where you really don't expect him to get a Planetary Fortress snipe. Clem was just a bit out of position. A Nova from far away is going to keep the Terran army at bay. We are about to have 3-3 upgrades though on the side of Clem. 3-3 is terrifying, man. That is truly terrifying. Once the Liberators get set up, once a couple of EMPs land, as that Disruptor gets picked up immediately. A few of the Zealots are fighting now out of sync. This is not a fight that I think Trigger wants to be taking. 8 seconds away from +3 attack, only +1 armor on the side of the Protoss. I think Trigger is dead, and it's crazy. Oh no, the Liberator spot as well is annoying. Trigger is not going to be able to mine from that base at 3 o'clock. The Winter Madness special makes another appearance. We did rebuild the Colossus, that is obviously great, but I just don't see how we're going to take a good fight against this army. But we can't really give up this base if we're not mining from the base at 3 o'clock either. The Vikings show up, they gun down the Colossus. I'm afraid that all the Protoss units will just die here. Terran upgrades, too big, too powerful. And in a game, a 15-minute game where Clem lost 47 SCVs, Clem is still the one who ties things up. Honestly, pretty high-level game there by Clem. What an insanely good hold at the third. I didn't even hate the way that Trigger executed it. Of course, he could bring the Colossus closer, but then they're also sitting ducks. And there are a lot of very sweet spots there for the Vikings to be chilling and getting big shots of. So, I thought Trigger did a lot of things right. The planetary snipe was a little bit optimistic. I'm not sure if in the end we were happy with that, because again we got reset to pure Zealot Stalker. And that's fine if we're up in upgrades, but we were not up in upgrades. And we were richer, but not that much richer. Oh well. Oh, what a piece. Fun series, huh? Can't believe Clem is up. I mean, Clem doesn't really have much of a choice, right? Clem has to be up, mate. And hey, I was there too. He's not alone. We're in the same boat. It's also not like it's 8 a.m., mate. Like, if this series was played at 8 a.m., I'd be like, yeah, that was kind of rough. He was playing till past midnight, but it's noon. I don't know how many hours you expect Clem to sleep after an intense best of 3, but I like to think that 10 or 11 should be good enough. That did not happen 3 hours ago. It was 12 hours ago. It was a long series, it was intense, and it was crazy, but a lot of time has gone by. Game 3 will, of course, be played on US West again. And that's a server where Trigger is going to have the ping advantage. It's going to be a very crucial game in this best of 5, where the winner will play against either Maru or Created Tomorrow. I'm gonna miss the Rongyi Cup. The Rongyi Cup is a little bit similar to like Masters Coliseum or any like Kung Fu big tourney, whatever, anything that runs for like 2 weeks straight. You can really get used to it. It's like, oh, I'm going to bed early. I'm gonna wake up a bit earlier. Gonna play a couple game pieces, and then at noon we get to cast some great Starcraft. It's a great little streak that you enter, but then when it's gone, you're gonna miss it, and then you're gonna have too many days where you wake up and you're like, so what am I gonna do today? What is there to do? The good news is that we got the Home Story Cup upcoming weekend. But past Home Story Cup, it's gonna feel a little empty. I mean, if I have to cast at noon, I'm obviously not waking up at 11:58, because that would be pretty stupid. I think the latest I woke up in any of the days of the Rongyi Cup was 10:30. So that was like 90 minutes in advance, and then I rush downstairs, I grab myself a coffee, step outside for a second, run upstairs, shower, and then I sit down. But that is the latest. 10:30 is obviously not late, but if you go to bed at like 2 a.m., then it's gonna feel like it's somewhat early. But I know a lot of you guys wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. almost every single day for kids or university or a commute to work. So I don't think we have to complain about the 12 p.m. starting time. I don't know why it's taking so long. Everybody is just stuck in BattleNet. I don't see... I don't know. It's odd. Maybe they're not certain who should host. This has been a pretty long break between games. And no one is saying anything. I assume that they have a party. But I'm not part of the party. So maybe they're chatting within the party. You host them? Well, I wouldn't know what map. I can only imagine that they are arguing in the party, or they're just struggling hosting it. Or maybe somebody, they're trying to host, and somebody within the party is blocking the game from being hosted. I think that's probably what it was. Alright, game 3. We have successfully hosted. It is being played on 10,000 feet. It's Clem. It's Trigger. The game is already. All the casters have joined. It's a big lobby. We woke up at 4:30 for a week straight after Hangzhou. The moment I came home from Hangzhou, I went live immediately, Allison. Joined in the middle of the weekly of number 37. I was a little delusional. I was a bit out of it. I was still thinking about the burger that Reynor stole from me. When we came home, we went live. Watched Cup of Game Piece. Then I think we had one Tuesday to chill a little, but I forgot what we did that Tuesday. But then basically on Wednesday, I think the Rongyi Cup started, and it's been non-stop ever since. But it's been good. Game 3.
Round 3. Fight.
Top left side of 10,000 feet. The man who opened up with the proxy gates in game 1 and honestly looked good in game 2, even if we didn't close it out. Our Canadian Protoss living in Korea. It is Trigger. Bottom right side of 10,000 feet. We are looking at the main base of the Frenchman representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. I'll tell you later. He did not steal it. I offered it to him. He just very happily accepted. And he never looked back. It wasn't like, we can share it, or, no, I'm fine. It was just like second burger. And the man dove in at the airplane. Or in the airplane, actually. At the airport. In the airplane. Sitting right next to me. And he never looked at me. And I looked at that man just devouring our second burger. It was technically Jona's burger, but Jona didn't want it. I got it for him, but then Serral said, I think you should take it. Big man deserves big food. I was like, did Serral just call me fat? So we had a secondary set of fries, and we had a second burger. Trigger has gone cybernetics core. Nexus once more has scouted. Clem going for the low ground CC. We'll probably build at least one Marine before we even think about adding in the reactor. Has not SCV scouted, so definitely a bit scary knowing what has happened in game 1 of this series, but Clem is just going to carefully check in certain locations around this natural. Expecting Trigger to play Twilight Council in almost every single game. I know in game 1 we went for the Trigate, but I don't think Trigger is much of a believer in Stargate openings. And a Robo would be truly bizarre to me. I know we sometimes, very rarely, occasionally see it, but Trigger is just a Twilight man. Trigger is a man who believes in just executing at the highest level to perfection. And then obviously switching it up a little bit. Sometimes we 3-gate, sometimes we 4-gate. Sometimes we go very aggressive, or we prioritize Colossus. Sometimes we prioritize the upgrades. I think it depends a little bit on what he sees as well. Clem, his CC does finish up in time. Immediately hops it in. Does not want to keep that SCV safe forever. Because as long as the SCV is inside of the command center, we cannot upgrade it into an orbital. Clem loses the Reaper to an Adept. Stalker Adept. Okay, well he's not going to be happy with that, guys. So he loses an SCV and he loses a Reaper. Did Clem even get into the main base? He did not. Now, since these guys play a lot of custom games with each other, I am sure that Clem is also 99% certain Trigger is playing a Twilight. And I know there is an argument for, well, if your opponent is that certain you play Twilight, wouldn't it be good to suddenly open up with Oracles? Yes and no. The yes part about surprising your opponent, and it is a lot more likely that your Oracle will deal damage than a Protoss that Clem is maybe thinking about potentially going Oracles. The downside of it is that you are not that practiced with it. So you're going to end up with an Oracle, you might kill a few SCVs, but then all of your other timings are still incredibly off. And it is a lot more likely you'll let go of a potential good start, and then it's just awkward and you lose your momentum. And obviously momentum is the most important thing in TVP. And a lot of the Terran openings, yes, Booyah said, and I agree with that. Not this time, but a lot of the Terran openings are good against a Oracle anyway. So even if they're not expecting it and they may be out of position, after that they're immediately capable of dealing with it. To me it makes sense what Trigger is doing. He is perhaps doing it the hard way, as he's not relying on gimmicks or a surprise element, but he is playing with confidence. This is the build he believes in. He believes that if he just plays to the very best of his abilities, he can get the job done against Clem. And it's honorable. It's difficult, but we're going to see how it works. We do have a relatively quick third and fourth gas and a quick robobait this time. So we kind of did all of this off initially 2 gateways. It's kind of old school Trigger. I thought he kind of shied away from this. The double gate into 3 base into Colossus, but first time in a little while that I've seen it again. A lot of Protoss players do not believe in this, as they feel they just don't have the unit production to deal with some builds. But Trigger did obviously have a bit of a scout, and he killed the Reaper early on. Observer is going to see the initial Marines move out. The tank is not siege, so the Stalkers can get a free shot off. Clem does throw down the scan. Trigger with an early disruptor, and then we cancel it. Raven should start being annoying over here. First, all the turret gets dropped. Very good pro pull on the side of Trigger. Does not lose anything. This is the game once more, guys. Game 3, where Trigger will have the ping advantage. If you guys press Ctrl-Alt-F if you're in the game. Don't do it if you're watching Twitch. You can always see on which server the games are being played on. This game is played on the West. As the Raven has dropped another auto turret. This time in the main. This one did get 2 workers, but it is definitely early Colossus. There is no Forge yet. That is something we definitely want to keep an eye on. There are 7 gateways soon, by the way. 7 gateways is a lot of gates. Clem loads up 2 full medevacs, but Trigger has a couple of Stalkers on the left side. Spots it immediately. New Observer flies over the Terran army. Knowing Clem, he's already aware of it, and he might just throw down that scan soon. Good job by Trigger as we get a few more shots off. It's not much yet, but Alright, Clem does throw down the second scan, and Clem does get the Observer. Also kills the Stalker. This is the moment where Trigger has added in a Forge. The Raven is going to continue to be annoying, but obviously this is the fight. This is the move out that matters. Colossus already done 7 minutes in. We have a shield battery. A couple Widow Mines in the mix. There is a Guardian shield as well. Trigger would obviously love to take this fight once he's got extended turbulence, but honestly Trigger's army looks big. Trigger's army looks powerful. Gets the first Widow Mine, gets the second Widow Mine, and he can disengage immediately. Honestly, Armada's in a good spot. Warping in a 4th Nexus. By the time that Clem's 3rd CC is only halfway done, Clem looked at that Protoss army and said, that's a pretty big Protoss army, I want none of that. And he's going to just unsiege the tanks, go home. Trigger needs to be careful, no crazy forward blinks please. Early Templar Archives too. Clem has picked up 2 Widow Mines that he's going to send towards the main base, as we have a spotting Marine on the top right side that finds the Nexus. Honestly, Trigger is playing really good. Is it good enough to beat Clem? You never really know. A lot of people have played great games against Clem, and it was not good enough, but this is as strong of a performance as I think you can hope for out of Trigger at this point. The double Widow Mine drop has successfully made it to the top left side. Great little scout, by the way, for Clem, as he now also spots the Templar Archives finishing up. So he knows that he's potentially going to have to worry about some Archons early on. Where are these Archons? At home. Not totally certain why Clem didn't opt to go in with the Widow Mine drop. I think that would have been a better play. Trigger was not ready at first. Eventually turned out to be ready. This is honestly going to be very hard, guys, because Clem is going to have to deal with Colossus and Archons. At this point, we don't have Ghost and we don't have a crazy amount of Vikings. What we do have is a couple of tanks and there is a backup bunker, but this is legitimately going to be a very difficult hold. There's a lot of HP in this Protoss army, there's a lot of firepower in this Protoss army. As Clem is gonna bring his, like those Widow Mines would be useful at home. Clem is gonna have to micro. Clem is a little bit late with the stim. Clem is very late with the stim. I don't like that War Prism though. Why is the War Prism so far forward? Now the Colossus are eating a couple of big shots as well. Oh, Trigger, I think we messed this one up a little bit, mate. If we don't lose that War Prism there the way that we did, we have a crazy amount of potential. Did kill 11 SCVs, but that Prism should have never ever been here. I feel like that's the first massive error that Trigger has made in this best of 5. That Raven is still not able to accomplish a whole lot. And from here on out it's gonna be harder, because now the Ghost Academy is done, so Clem will start adding in ghosts. Clem has a couple of Widow Mines, there is an a missile turret in the mix. Can obviously get shots up on the Colossus, can also keep a observer away, making it more difficult. The other turrets did successfully kill the cannon. Trigger is going to try his luck again, this time from the other way. If he commits, he's definitely going to get a cancel, I think, on this command center. That should always happen. But I believed a lot more in the previous attack than I will believe in this one. Despite the fact that we have 116 army supply, but we have no armor upgrades. Couple zealots in the natural. War Prism goes deeper, sneaks into the main base, and it can still work. It can most certainly still work, or we just directly go for the main. Clem, I think, has seen it, but has a lot of Marines here. Clem is very ready to deal with this War Prism, at least with a couple of Zealots. Is he ready to deal with 10 Zealots? We're about to find out. There's a lot of firepower in these Marines. There's Stim, there's Combat Shield. Trigger is also trying his luck with his main army. I just want to take a tiny look at this. 17 SCVs is a serious amount of SCVs. And now we do drop. And that War Prism is very dead. Nah. I mean, good. Great economic damage. But we need to make sure that we catch up in upgrades. Especially when it comes down to getting a few armor upgrades. Otherwise, Winter Madness may just repeat itself. Where the Terran army is just a bit too big, a bit too powerful. I'm worried. I'm worried because these Archons that could have been so impactful the first time around are just not going to be that impactful anymore. The ghost count is 5. Clem is going to try to float over command center, go up to 4 bases. Big moment here in the quarterfinals of the Rongyi Cup. Trigger is posturing himself like he wants a piece of this Terran army. We have a sentry in the mix. 9 Vikings. It is doable. We're going to come in from a very wide angle. I don't think we can do it. Command center is somewhat low. Colossus is going to take a serious beating from these Vikings. First one goes down. Clem pulls the cuckoo as he steams forward. Kills that Disruptor too. These games are now hell. These games are hell. What a missed opportunity earlier, man. Losing that War Prism is incredibly painful. I think Trigger could have won that. From here on out, now I don't believe in this Protoss army near a Liberator, near a Planetary. Like, there's really not a lot we're gonna do here. The main base is still somewhat wide open, so we can potentially sneak a War Prism as the armies get dangerously close to each other, but yeah, the next Colossus just gets picked off immediately. Clem could go for that Disruptor. Clem will most certainly go for it. Hell for the Protoss. Mixu was ahead of his time when he was watching Chem versus Disc on El Sione. And the man spoke the legendary words, hell for the Zerg. Definitely was not hell for the Zerg, that was a walk in the park. But this game right here is hell for the Protoss. Despite the fact that we have bases, we are maxed out. We've got some Disruptors. The good news for Trigger is that he does still have the ping advantage. So it might be a bit difficult for Clem to always micro perfectly against these Disruptors. This Terran army is just so freaking powerful. We are adding in a Dark Stride on the side of the Canadian. We are researching Shadow Stride as well. He's also throwing in a Stargate. I don't think it's necessarily for Tempest. I think it's more to make life a little bit easier against like Medevacs that are chilling behind our main, or a Liberator that's gonna siege up here in an gnarly spot. Liberator in the center of the map. I'd be very surprised if he immediately drops the Fleet Beacon and 2 more Stargates. I mean, Showtime did manage to get the job done yesterday in a game where he was very far ahead with that style. Does drop the beacon, does get +1, so seems like we are thinking of either Carriers or Tempest. I think it is hell. Couple of Novas flying forward. The first one gets picked off. The second one we split against. The third one gets picked off as well. Trigger just lost 40 supply without killing a freaking unit, if you ask me. And this right here is why this one is hell for the Protoss. DTs then? Nope. This is nothing, man. There's legitimately nothing. Trigger has... I mean, we are used these days to Protoss losing a bit more, but this is extreme, guys. Losing 9,000, now almost 10,000 resources more this early into a game. It's just not good. Yes, we're mining more, but 10k more this early is not it. So we are gonna try to play Storm, Tempest, Disruptor. Well, Clem had all the practice in the world against this style yesterday in the weekly against Showtime. As Clem is now about to get his hands on 3-3. Does eat a big Storm to the face. One of the better moments for Trigger in the last few minutes. He does not have advanced ballistics. It's on the way. We will have +2 ship weapons, so that gnarly combo is going to be online in less than a minute from now. The good news is that once we rely on Disruptors and Tempest, it's still scary, but it's a tiny bit less scary than when we are relying on Stalkers. I'm obviously very worried for Trigger, but okay, Clem is making a few mistakes now too. He's rallying a Ghost or 2 there. P wins, starves T. I want you to be right, mate. Right now there are very few experts on this planet that will tell you that they think Trigger is winning this game. But I'm glad that you will go against each and every single one of them, and that means that this game is still exciting. And it is possible. With Tempest, it is possible, but it's so difficult. I wouldn't hate it if Clem adds in another starport. He currently has 3. I think he can definitely go for 4 or 5. Clem is definitely not very broke. Clem is close to being a maxed out Protoss, is continuing to find really good fights. It's so difficult for Trigger to find good fights. Even if he has a bit more income at this point, he's got a few more workers, but more workers also means smaller army. I am obviously on the side of this looks incredibly bad for Trigger, as that is the narrative that I've been going with for the last 8 minutes, but you know, if Bronizi says Protoss wins, it's gonna starve the Terran. I love it, because that means out there people still believe. Getting a planetary is big though. That is the start of starving this Terran. Well done on the side of Trigger. Clem throws down a scan on the right side, wondering how rich is Trigger, sees that the Nexus is on the way. This Protoss army feels so bad to me, man. Unless we have infinite storms. I think the only way that Trigger ever wins a game like this is if we start covering the entire map in cannons and batteries. We gotta go full Neep here. Clem continues to stim forward, kills Disruptor after Disruptor, and because we haven't gone full Neep and we don't have a bunch of cannons and batteries to run back to, we are not taking bad fights, we are getting slaughtered. This is a total massacre when these armies clash. Clem missed his push. I think Clem is looking pretty good, mate. I don't know which game you're watching, Bronizi. Let me know if you've got a secondary stream open and you're talking in the wrong chat, because Clem is looking pretty good, mate. My man, he's watching Clem play TVP against Hero on like Ruby Rock. And he's like, man, Clem is in trouble. It's like, mate, we're watching the game on 10,000 feet. I don't know if you're aware of it, but alright, bro. This is the one that's live, by the way, mate. I hope you know that. He's got a YouTube video up. He's like, man, this is crazy. Like, Roddy is just talking about this Trigger all the time while I'm watching a Hero game. Why does Roddy want Hero to pull the trigger so badly? It's like, hey, the Hero's not relevant here. We're watching a different game. We do have a solid Zealot run by and a couple of okay storms, but every single time that Trigger is going to expose these Colossus in the Tempest, he is just in for a serious beating. We're not taking trades, we're just losing units. We do find some value out of a DT here, so that is nice. And obviously, economically, Trigger still has more than a shot in this game. With 80 workers, we have a shot. I really think we need a staging ground. We need a couple cannons, we need a couple batteries in the center of the map where we can start spreading our High Templars and make it so difficult for Clem to just drop an EMP and chase and stim forward and stim forward. Happy to help, Admiral. We've got a mothership in the mix. Time Warp can be annoying to deal with for a Terran, especially if there are Novas and storms flying around. Not a crazy amount of starport units out right now for Clem. I mean, the Liberator count is very high, but I would also prefer it if Clem has in a few more Vikings. Even though I'm sure that Trigger would love to see a lack of Vikings. Casual 20-minute game right now where Trigger did get his hands on the base at 3 o'clock. Clem is creating a lot of circles. 3 circles on the minimap. The orbital count, if you want my guess right now, I think it's 9. It's only 7. 7 orbitals. Lots of circles, 7 orbitals, 1 planetary, and no command centers. 2 of them in production. Clem has split off some units, by the way. And that's going to be a very easy cancel on this base. Recall? We recall part of our army. Trigger's going to try to jump on all these buy units. This obviously can mean that Clem can also bring over his units. The Tempests are exposed. The Ghosts, Marines, and Marauders will start battling the Archons and Stalkers. 1 Colossus very exposed. I think it's a bad fight by Trigger. It's a cute idea, but it's just not going to work because the Terran army is a lot more powerful than the Protoss army. We're gonna get sniped as well. We have no detection, so we lose our High Templars. That Nova connects in a big way, but even with some fantastic purification Novas, I mean, those Novas were as good as they were ever going to be. Okay, Clem forced to retreat. And now Trigger is going to be very sad that he does not have an observer. Those were some sick Novas, guys. Clem perhaps thinking that that battle was already over and that we've won it, but you know, the mothership, it may not deal crazy damage. It does deal solid damage, and it's very, very tanky. And if it's then cloaking a Colossus, if it's cloaking a Disruptor, an Archon, a couple of monstrous Novas there, give Trigger a 40 supply advantage, but Clem is definitely rich enough to rebuild. I hear a nuke on the right side. Viking count now at 6. We land an EMP. Tempest dies. Maybe another Tempest dies. Yep, second Tempest will fall. But now Clem losing a couple of Vikings. The nuke is going to land on a pylon and 3 cannons. Means that stuff is unpowered here. Cloaked Ghost can now start killing workers. Do we have observer speed, guys? We don't have observer speed. I love observer speed. I love War Prism speed. It's gonna make our life a lot easier. I know there is something that's annoying about observer speed, and that is that your ops are so quick that they fly forward and they often fly into the Vikings, but I would still love to see it, especially when Clem continues to cloak those ghosts. Clem is still in a very good spot, guys. Clem has rebuilt. The biggest problem is just that Clem did not have enough Vikings earlier. And if you don't have too many Vikings, you're not killing a mothership and the remaining Tempest. And he ate 2 very big Novas to the face. That's not going to happen very often. I think Clem's army is still a lot more powerful than Trigger's army. Nova is going to connect, but the Viking count is high. Those storms are massive, though. Those are really good storms. And Clem is going to have to respect them a little more than he did. Still so much bio left over. Trigger down 50 army supply. Archon will go down. Nexus goes down. All of these probes will fall. That is what is going to happen. Trigger is back for more. I don't know what he sees here. Sometimes it is hard to really size up the Terran army, and maybe if we land another big storm and a follow-up storm, it's good, but I'm a tiny bit worried. We're very heavy on the Zealots. Those are actually kind of tanky and deal serious damage to Zealots. The Archons are just balloons that are going to get popped. It reminds me of that YouTube short I saw yesterday. Pop the balloon where you hear a better striker than Victor Eucharist. Pop! Didn't even have to hear a single one. Snapped it immediately. That's kind of the purpose of the Archon here. The good thing is that the Archon will continue to force these girls to EMP, like we saw over there. A couple of EMPs land, and it makes it a bit more likely that we can get a High Templar in range to maybe drop a big storm, but it's looking very, very grim for Trigger. Here, a couple of snipes going down. The Liberators are ready to spread some
justice reigns from above.
And just like that, after 25 minutes, this game kind of goes out like a candle in the wind. Clem takes the 2-1 lead. Trigger had one big fight, one great fight when Clem ran out of Vikings, and we had the Tempest and we had the Mothership, and it was good, but it always felt like we have seen enough games of late game TVP on this patch, especially in the hands of Clem, that we know how these fights go. So the way that Protoss wins is not really by winning a fight, it's more by finding damage here, there, everywhere, out-positioning the Terran army, and then hoping that the Terran army chases, and we drop a storm, we drop another storm, we fire a Nova. But to create those scenarios, you need a staging ground or 5 in the center. The way that Showtime had it yesterday on Tourmaline. We need cannons, we need batteries, we need to make it very difficult for those girls to land EMPs on the High Templars. Without it, you just can't really win. 50-50 chance. That game did not look 50-50 ever since we lost the War Prism in the first push. We can look at a lot of the fights and the exchanges in the last 10 minutes. I don't think it's all that relevant. I think what is a lot more relevant was that one moment where we had Colossus, where we had Archons, where we had Zealots with Charge and Storm. And I really think that Trigger could have done so much more there when he walked up that ramp than when he did. It's such a shame that he lost the War Prism the way he did, because the Protoss army was big and was powerful in that phase in the game, and it would have been incredibly hard, I think, for Clem to pull off a hold there. And even if he does pull off a hold, he's gonna lose 35 SCVs. It's just that was a real missed opportunity. For me, that is the game defining moment. And I know the game went on for a very long time, but losing that War Prism the very first time, I think, is the biggest moment of that game.
Round 4. Fight.
Bottom left side of Old Republic, he's playing a good series and he's definitely competitive and he had his moments, but he's in a tiny bit of a pickle now as we're down 1-2 in a single elimination bracket. And of course, game 4 is played on US Central. That means that this man will have the worst ping playing from Korea. Representing Basilisk, the Canadian Protoss, it's Trigger. And Trigger is playing against his good friend, his practice partner, his Counter-Strike teammate, the Frenchman, the world champ of 2024, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. It's not over yet. Obviously, Trigger is very good and he has played some magical PVTs over the last few months, but that last game was very important because we had the ping advantage and we had an opportunity. You're not always going to have a game-ending opportunity at minute 8 or minute 9 against Clem. So when they present themselves, we got to capitalize on it. If we want to win best of 5s like this, big ones in big tournaments, we have to jump on those moments. We have to be all over it. And that is also what makes Hero Hero, right? You give Hero an opportunity to kill his opponent. He always takes it. He's always there. Once in a while it goes wrong, but the killer instinct in that man is so strong. Who was the 2025 world champ? Serral. Serral beat Classic in the grand finals. Oh. Classic took out Clem in the quarterfinals. We have an SCV scout. I feel like that's the first time in the series, right, that we had an SCV scout on the side of Clem. In case you guys joined a little bit later, in game 1, Trigger got a flawless victory. The man beat Clem without losing a single unit by proxying 2 gateways, 1 gate at home, 2 gateways out on the map. And the man did not lose a single unit. Clem did not scout with an SCV in that game. Nice moment for the Reaper to show up in the main base. That should be first blood. It is first blood. But the Stalker should be able to get the Reaper. One more from downtown. Put it on a Topps Chrome card. 1 of 1 Trigger Stalker. Signed by Trigger. Put it on eBay. Sell it for 10k. I love it. Legend. It's a big snipe. Because Clem Reapers are very, very, very annoying. Obviously, this orbital is off location, so Clem is going to have to lift it. If I was Clem, I'd kind of lift it before building this SCV. That would make our life a little bit easier, but we do have the bunker. I think this Adept is in a bit of trouble. The Marine's going to hop out. I think one Marine can obviously stay in. Oh, Clem is going to switch targets now and is thinking about maybe going for the Stalker. But in the end, by going for both of them, he gets neither of the units. The Trigger really wants the Marine. It is hard work to get a single Marine of Clem. Clem really wants that Adept. Getting the Adept is big because now there's no more free high ground vision and Trigger takes a lot of damage. Also now sees the Widowmine, at least a good scout, knowing that there is a Widowmine is a good scout. Or we're gonna have to disengage here obviously. Usual setup coming out of our Canadian, but it is once more the double gate. So usual from the past, we saw it last game. Bit surprised to see him go up to 3 bases again of just 3 gateways. The medevac with 2 Widowmines inside of it has made it. This is potentially scary, but so far so good. Completely fine for Trigger, guys. Like, yeah, we lost the Stalker, but he dealt with this as quickly as humanly possible. He gets the medevac, he gets the 2 Widowmines. I'll take this. I'll take this any day of the week. Because now we don't have to worry about it anymore. There won't be a second attempt coming out of Clem. There won't be a third attempt. I can guarantee you that Clem is not happy with it. Even if he takes out a Stalker, Trigger does not care. It's completely okay. Hello, mate. Doing good. A little bit tired. It's been a non-stop streaming and casting ever since we came back from Hangzhou. But having a good time. The games have been good. This has been an intense series. He's trolling, secret, direct inspiration. Don't take the bait, mate. Don't let these guys bait you. Just ignore it. Little auto turret also gets dealt with. We've got an observer on the other side of the map. It's another strong start by Trigger. And now, obviously, we completely get away, right, with the fact that we only had 2 gateways. So less unit production, but we are completely fine. There's no early move out that was devastating or scary. No Marines, tanks, Vikings to worry about. Trigger is just playing really good. 6 minutes in, I think almost every Protoss will take this opening. Be like, yeah, this is completely fine. Completely fine. There is a lot to be hopeful of. There is a lot to play for. I'm sure that Clem is a tiny bit annoyed over losing the medevac as quickly as he did, not getting too much value out of the Widowmines, not getting too much out of the Raven, even though we do kill the Observer now. There is a chance that Clem is going to play a very defensive game. There's obviously a chance that he's still going to move out because he's got a decent amount of army supply. Loads up to full medevacs. Alright. Well, that's definitely a move. Obviously just killed the Observer, so Trigger saw all the units at home. Now he doesn't know if they're at home anymore. And if I am Trigger, guys, and I see the Raven, I see Marines, Marauders, a bunker, I would not think that my opponent is already dropping me. It's actually a really good play by Clem. It's just so smart. Clem is now going to fly in range of this 4th Nexus. He's going to stem and he's going to be able to cancel this Nexus. There's nothing that Trigger can do about it. At the same time, Trigger needs to make sure that he moves his Stalkers back. It's a fantastic call by Clem. Legitimately a fantastic call by Clem. Trigger now potentially in a tiny bit of trouble. One thing goes wrong and the game goes from great to immediately a tiny bit scary. Because now Clem is going to use all that space he has just created for himself to casually go up to 3 bases. There isn't really a whole lot that Trigger can do about it. 6 gateways is also not a crazy amount. This is a big army, it's a powerful army. And after losing, that's the power of the Raven, after losing those observers, it's just really becoming a bit of a guessing game. Trigger is doing his absolute best to get some vision, but he's got no idea where the army of Clem is. Now he sees the main army. That's a great anti-armor missile on the side of Clem too. Trigger is not able to keep that fourth base alive. Is not able to expand the way that the Protoss would love to expand in this matchup. What happened to the other two medevacs? They're still here, right? Yeah, they're still here. This game went from kind of rough for Clem to it's just looking perfectly fine, and Clem is loving it. Keeping a Protoss on 3 bases for almost 9 minutes is a dream so naughty that most of the Terrans don't even dream about it anymore these days. Clem has unloaded those 2 medevacs that got the first cancel. He's going to take out a pylon. Trigger knows that he's going to need to start finding a victory, and he's going to try to find a victory here with double Colossus, extend the thermal lens. A lot of Zealots. There is no bunker. There's a bunker in the natural, but no bunker at the third. Okay, we have a War Prism. We have to be so careful. Okay. It's somewhat similar to 10k. It's not totally the same, because I think the game in 10k went better, looked better than this one. Viking count is 4. These 2 Widowmines were stuck in a medevac on 10k. They're here now. But there might still be some potential, because there are no goals yet. If there are, oh, careful, please be careful. Please be careful, Trigger. Please be careful. We're still going to fly it in. I don't know if I love it, but the good news is that he did not lose the War Prism. The bad news is every second that goes by, Clem's army is becoming bigger and better and more powerful. Trigger might just be counting down the seconds until he gets +2 attack, but I almost wish... I think I would have preferred armor here over +2. Obviously for the Stalkers, attack is great. Nice forward blink. Gets the medevac. Gets a couple of them Marauders. Is going to take out the Sensor Tower immediately. There are Widowmines in the mix. War Prism again flies headfirst into the Viking. Clem is forced to pull SCVs. The Archons are obviously very, very tanky, and it's an awkward fight for Clem, especially as long as these Colossus are still alive. Those Colossus lived a whole lot longer than they ever did. And is this the power of the Archon? Are we going to game 5? We are down 24 SCVs. Clem messed up a little bit there. Clem is forced to cancel this CC. I thought that the Vikings were in a good spot, but in the end we kind of just got surprised by the ambush, all the additional units storming up this ramp. And it is very rare that you see Clem caught out of position, caught a bit off guard. Clem was not certain what to pay attention to, continue to run, Colossus continue to fire, and just like that, Trigger wins game 4. We are going to the rubber match. That is massive. Let's take another look at this fight. I was worried, but these Zealots were so goated. Obviously losing the War Prism like that is not goated, but these Zealots just complicate everything so much because this Bio army couldn't retreat. I actually don't think that Clem should have moved the Vikings here. I think Clem should move the Vikings here because he's going to kill these Colossus so much quicker. Maybe like a... He's like, the Vikings just did not fire. And that allowed these Colossus to live forever. And if the Colossus live forever, all the SCVs are not going to be as efficient as they normally are. A final game, guys. A final game. Yeah, Archons are very tanky. If there are no EMPs, Archons are good. The moment the EMPs are out, Archons are crap. Game 5. And we are back on US West. Fun first, a best of 5 of the day. Definitely a big series. Here we go. Basilisk Trigger versus Team Liquid's Clem. Game 5 shall be played on a White Rabbit. We don't have a Terran yet in the semifinals. I definitely expected the Terran today. Potentially too. And let's see. Final round. Let's go.
Final round. Fight!
Top right side of a White Rabbit. We are looking at the main base of our Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. Had opportunities in game 3, but created them in game 4 and capitalized on them. It's Trigger. Bottom left side of White Rabbit, we are looking at the main base of the Frenchman representing Team Liquid, sending out one of the SCVs early. We'll keep an eye on that. It is Team Liquid's Clem. Serral is not playing in this event because Serral just went to China for the Hangzhou All-Star Invitational, and Serral did not want to make the trip to China twice within 2 weeks. So obviously our GOAT is also getting a little older, and those are long journeys. So he decided to not play in this one. But you will be able to enjoy and appreciate Serral upcoming weekend at the Home Story Cup. The GOAT is not 19 anymore, guys. These are long trips from Helsinki to China. Whether it's Hangzhou or Shanghai. And it was just a little too quick after one another. Serral was okay with going once, does not want to go twice in 2 weeks. If this tournament would have taken place like next month, obviously he would have played. But the finals of this event are happening on the 7th of February, and it's just really... it would have been basically back-to-back travel. Helsinki to Hangzhou, Helsinki to Krefeld, Helsinki to Shanghai in 3 out of 4 weeks. It was just a bit too much for Yona. And he also decided not to listen to me, because I told him only the grand finals would be offline. But then he spoke to an admin, Saratobi, and Saratobi told him that the semi-finals and the grand finals are offline. And perhaps if it was only the grand finals, he would have played. And I was like, come on, Yona, I told you. He's like, yes, but I decided to trust the Chinese admin over you. I was like, well, it is only the grand finals that's offline, so perhaps if he would have known that, he would have actually played. But a little bit of miscommunication. Because I guess he did not want to take the risk of flying to China but then finishing in 4th place and not walking away with a crazy amount of money. Well, if it's only the grand finals that's offline, then you've guaranteed top 2, so the payout is a little bit bigger, and that is going to make the trip a little bit more enjoyable. Gabe will hopefully be doing both, but he's definitely playing in Furnace. Hero Marine is playing in the upcoming edition of the Home Story Cup, and hopefully he will bless us with a pizza or two as well. Clem is going to jump on the Stalkers over here of Triggered. Obviously, Reapers and Hellions are a little bit quicker than Stalkers that don't have Blink. So you want to be very cautious as Protoss that you don't go in too deep. What's the flight duration between Amsterdam and Shanghai? I'd say around 10 hours. Our trip to Beijing was 9 hours and 30 minutes. Shanghai, I guess, is a tiny bit further. So 10 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. Triple Reaper, double Hellion, the Nikorak opening, as I like to call it. Oh, this Stalker is in trouble. This could be bad news, guys. This Stalker is in trouble, and if the first one falls, the second one could be in a bit of a pickle as well. At least Trigger was able to kill a Reaper. Guys, crisis averted. This could have been so painful. If you lose the first one and then a grenade bounces the second one a little bit further back, the Adept is chilling in the main. I've lost games like that. I'm very happy that Trigger did not lose the game like that. Clem continues to be active with these quick units. Does see the timing of the 3rd base. Thank the Lord for Trigger that he killed a Reaper there. If he didn't kill it, it would have been rough. Medevac has picked up 2 Widow Mines and we have activated the boost. We're gonna drop a Widow Mine on the ramp. Blink not quite done yet, so this is actually very annoying. Second Widow Mine in the mineral line. We have on-burrowed the first one as well. Clem is gonna drop it deep. This is very chaotic. The first one seems like it's not gonna get a lot. It only gets a single worker. The second one is now stuck behind the main base. I have no idea, Angrith. My flights to Jeju are quite expensive. The way that it works in poker is a tiny bit different. Rather than in Starcraft, whenever you get invited, they always like book the flights and they book everything and they just send you the info. In poker, it's like, hey, we're gonna look at a budget. We'll give you a budget. You book your own stuff and then we'll pay you back later. I was shocked. I was like, man, that's an expensive flight. I think like a direct flight to Shanghai is probably not that bad. I would assume that with KLM it's gonna be like 700 or 800. Maybe like China Southern or China Eastern, you can get a deal as well. It should definitely be below 1,000, but it's not mega cheap either. Clem with a move out. Don't forget about that one medevac that is still stuck behind the main base of Trigger. This is a big moment, because if we get swallowed here by a bunch of zealots with charge, we're obviously in trouble. But charge is not done yet. There is some activity. Trigger gets the first tank. That is big. Gets the Banshee as well. But there's still a lot of firepower, guys, and all these Marines in this tank. 5 probes have gone down. Trigger counting down the seconds until they can get zealot charge. I do believe that he's going to deal with this. But the question is, how many units are we going to lose? That medevac is still around. That Widow Mine is still alive. Charge is finishing up in 5 seconds. We cannot afford to lose this Nexus. That goes without saying. We don't have a Robo Bay yet. We don't have a Forge. We do have a Forge. We just don't have any upgrades. Zealot charge. Double tank, 1 tank siege on siege. I don't know if I love it. Are we going to get all the key units of Clem? Yes. Is it good enough? Well, we're going to get the Marines now as well. We're going to get the Banshee. It's good enough to live. It's good enough to dream. Widow Mine is going to get dropped again behind the natural, and we are paying attention. That's very important. Well, that was good enough in the end. Ooh, that's a slow warping. Clem should have dropped, by the way. Missed opportunity here for Clem. If he would have seen that, if he would have been able to borrow the Widow Mine next to it, he would have killed 2 Stalkers with a single Widow Mine shot, as one of those pylons was not connected to the Nexus or the gateway. Minor missed opportunity by Clem shows that Clem is also feeling the stress, feeling the pressure. The bunker gets picked off. Stim is nowhere near done. The tank count is only 1. That's a nice snipe on the bunker. And it seems like the Widow Mine and the medevac have been dealt with on the other side of the map while we were looking at Trigger applying pressure. Clem lost that medevac. Clem lost that Widow Mine. Picks up 8 Marines. Zealots should see it. Zealots, well, will see it. Obviously, we don't know what's inside of it. Do we have energy for a recall? Yes. Do we have a recall? Yes. Observer creeps forward towards the main base. Trigger is thinking about sending it here, guys. There is no stim yet. This is going to get hectic. The Marines are going to go head first into these probes. We don't have stim yet. If this was stim, we would have lost almost every probe there. War Prism goes into the main base. Double tank, observer on top of it. Trigger is sending it. Who is advancing into the semifinals? There is your forward blink. The first tank goes down. War Prism warp in deep into the main base. Clem still has those Marines active on the other side of the map. A lot of SCVs will fall, and it's so difficult to deal with this if you don't have stim. The tanks are dealing a crazy amount of friendly fire on the SCVs. Trigger his. The Zealots with charge are dealing with the medevac drop on the other side of the map. Is it happening, guys? For the men from Basilisk. Look at the damage that these Zealots with charge are dealing. 29 SCVs have gone down. Wow. 10 seconds away from stim. The medevac gets picked off as well. The final 3 Marines go down. It is Clem, and never count Clem out, as he will finally get his hands on stim now. There is stim, there is combat shield. But Trigger is more than on pole position to win this series. Trigger is 10 seconds clear. He might even be a lap ahead, who knows? War Prism could be in a tiny bit of trouble now against the Viking, but the Zealots continue. This is a perfectly fine trade already, and that shall do it. Clem hits his friend with the GG, and good luck in the next round. We shall once more not get a Clem vs Maru series in the semifinals. And it is the young Canadian Trigger playing from Korea who advances into the semis and is 1 series away from taking part of an offline grand finals in Shanghai. Well, what a moment. What a moment. Obviously getting a victory over Clem in the WarderTV Weekly is cool. But doing it in the quarterfinals of a $21,000 tournament, that's massive. That is legitimately massive. Well done. Very, very well done. We are not done yet. There is still a Maru versus Creator series coming up next, guys. We are not done yet. And that is an awesome win for Trigger. Wow. It's a big payout as well when it comes to the channel points. What a dub. What a dub. Next series is Maru versus Creator, best of 5 quarterfinals of the Rongyi Cup. Maru is our Korean Terran player, Creator is our Korean Protoss player. I'm gonna give you guys 15 minutes. I'm gonna take a tiny break. Oh, yeah, honestly, good series and fantastic performance. Trigger 1 map away from going to Shanghai. That is sick.